how's it going? It's Jamie, the crafty DIY guy. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing some DIY projects for you that are definitely summer inspired. I am so excited that summer is almost here and that the weather is starting to warm up. And, I have a deck out back that I am working on another video for you guys on that I'm doing a little bit of a not so much a makeover, but definitely a freshening up, and we're going to be doing some DIY projects. And some of these projects in today's video, you will see in that video when I complete that one, hopefully this weekend. But anyway, before we get into these projects, I do want to say thank you, of course, to my subscribers. You guys know who you are, my long-termers, my short-termers, everybody in between, my OGs. I appreciate you guys so much. And then also, of course, if you're brand new to the channel, maybe even YouTube happened to recommend the channel, then thank you, YouTube. But let's get into those projects. Right, everyone, and for project number one, we're going to take this doll furniture that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I actually found it in the summer toys section, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm just going to be spray painting them and just kind of freshening it up. I'm using very similar colors, as you can see. And I don't know, I just think it's going to make it pop a little more. And honestly, it's more about it coordinating well with my front porch. Now, this one I spray painted red. I don't know what was going on in my brain. I got a little crazy, got a little hairy here. And you'll see that I end up spray painting it a different color when we go to the next part of this project. Now, as you can see, I spray painted that lounger this midnight blue instead of the red. I like it so much better, and you know that blue is one of my favorite colors. Now, we are going to take these Dollar Tree succulents that come in these little pots, and I'm actually going to remove the succulent as well as the styrofoam, and then we're going to put that in one of these tiny terracotta pots that I picked up from Dollar Tree. Once you've done that, you can see you have the cutest little garden for your front porch or for your back deck. I think that this would even be super cute if you put some candles on it maybe, or incorporated some candles. Again, I really love the way that these are. I think that they're super, super cute, very whimsical. And I just think they add a very cool touch to my front porch. And my next project, we are going to be celebrating summer and rainbows and all things pride. I am going to be taking one of these Dollar Tree mesh wreath forms, or one of these Dollar Tree wreath forms, sorry, and also some of these colored clothespins that I picked up from Michael's. If you don't have some that are already painted, you could certainly paint them yourselves. All I'm going to do is take my wreath form and I'm going to separate my colors by red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And then we're just going to literally just start clipping them on the wreath form itself. We're going to do this all the way around, kind of spacing them out a little bit. I did end up using 2.5 packages of those clothespins. So just know that if you're going to replicate this and you're at Michael's and you see those clothespins, go ahead and pick up at least 3 bags of them. And again, you can use, any of the clothespins for anything else afterwards. Once I've got everything done, this is what the wreath form looks like. And I really love the way that this turned out. But I am not quite done yet. I do want to go ahead and, add a little bit of bling to this, I guess. I'm going to take this mesh ribbon, or this mesh diamond wrap, I think is what they call it at Dollar Tree. And what's great about this is that it does have an adhesive back to it, so it's going to stick to my wreath hanger really, really nicely. I'm going to cut it down to the color combo, so it coordinates with the wreath. I'm going to start with the red and just work my way down to the purple. And this takes about 4 of these rows. So I'm just going to, again, trim this. It's super, super easy to trim. And then you just peel off that adhesive backing and cover the wreath form completely in it. And now I want to bring some of that bling to the wreath itself. So what I'm going to do is just cut a very thin strip of the bling wrap that I can trim down to the same size as the width of each one of the colored clothespins. Hopefully that makes sense. It was a lot to say. And what's great about this bling wrap is that it's also very flexible, so it will kind of go within the the shape of the circle. And I'm just literally covering it with every single color that matches. And when it's hanging on the front door, it is bright, it is beautiful, it is prideful, and it is blingy. And I really, really love the way that this turned out. My next celebration of summer, we are going to do some very easy solar lights that you can do with Dollar Tree supplies. The first thing I did was grab one of these blue glass mason jars and one of these Dollar Tree solar lights. I don't know why I didn't think about what that is. You're going to need some tape, ideally some electrical tape or some black tape. I didn't have any that I could find. I have some somewhere, but I couldn't find it. So I'm actually going to use this masking tape or this painter's tape. And all you're going to do is kind of go around the edge of the light itself, because you have to kind of thicken that up a little bit. And the reason why you have to do that is because that light is not going to fit snugly within that mason jar. Now, you don't have to do this if you're fine with your light just kind of being in the bottom of the mason jar. It will still work just fine. I just wanted to create kind of a seal for some water, at least to prevent some water from going in there, and then put them out in the sun, let them charge up, and this is what they look like on your table. I am going to be doing a DIY back deck makeover video very, very soon. So you will see how these are incorporated into the deck once I'm finished with everything. My next project is actually a project that I stopped working on. This was almost a fail. And so I'm going to recycle and use this blue bowl. This is just a plastic blue bowl from Dollar Tree. I think it came in a 4-pack, and they're the clear plastic ones. I spray painted it my favorite color. And then I used my heat gun to go ahead and put those holes in it. And so now I'm just going to take some twine, and I'm actually going to double each length of the twine. So I think I did about 24 inches of double twine rope. Hopefully that makes sense. And I am just going to be feeding those wooden beads that I have there to the left. That container is from IKEA, and the beads are not from IKEA. I just repurposed that container for storage. So, not to my knowledge anyway, I don't think IKEA is selling wooden beads. These came from Michael's or from Amazon, and I've got a link in my description box below if you need some of those. So now I'm going to take that string that I doubled up, and we are just going to literally start threading our beads on there. And all I'm doing is starting with a larger bead, and then a medium-sized bead, and then a smaller bead. And I'm going to do this on all 3 sides of my bowl. Now, once that part is done, I do need to go ahead and weight this down because I am going to be tying those 6 strings at the top together in a large knot. And then all I did was take my larger beads, and I did glue the tips together of that rope so I could thread things. So I did 3 larger beads, and now I'm going to do 2 kind of the medium-sized beads and then 2 more medium-sized beads because they the smaller ones were just too small to be able to feed all of those pieces of rope, because remember, that's like 6 pieces of rope at the top there. And then once I have it done, I just added a plant, and this is what it looks like. It's a very cool kind of boho-esque planter. I love the way this looks in my office, and you can really put anything you want in here. This plant is faux, but I think you could even use this outdoors and it would look really, really cute. And for my last project, we are going to take these large blue and white striped mesh ribbon rolls that I picked up at Old Time Pottery. They were $7.99 each. The other thing I'm going to do is grab this anchor. This is a wood cutout that you can pick up in the Crafter Square section at Dollar Tree. And then also a large wreath form. So the first thing I did was take my anchor outside, and I'm going to spray paint it this apple red. I think that this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful transition against that blue and white ribbon. I was chatting with my friend Liz, the official craft nerd, the other night, and we were just kind of talking about different ideas, and props to Liz for suggesting the red anchor. Now, for the mesh ribbon rolls, I'm going to show you kind of what I do. Everybody is different. Everybody has their own way. I take 2 of the bundles, and I just kind of cut them very randomly, and you can see that they're definitely not straight. And I just kind of pinch it in the middle, and then I take one of my Dollar Tree pipe cleaners that I cut in half, and I'm just going to wrap it around the center there and just make it as tight as possible. You don't have to worry about the wreath or the pipe cleaners. You're not going to really see them once you do your wreath and kind of, fill it up and make it nice and fluffy. Don't even worry about the colors of the pipe cleaners. You can literally use any color you want to. And then I just kind of fluff it and just kind of play around with it. Now I'm going to take this rainbow wreath form that I have. This is a half of a circle, essentially. And I'm just going to use this for demonstration because I've actually already put my bundles on my wreath form for the actual project. So all you do is just kind of take your pipe cleaners and just straddle those 2 center bars and just literally wind it up as tight as you want. I like to keep mine a little loose. That way I can adjust it and slide it around. And then as I'm kind of adding my bundles and completing one section, then I may go through and tighten them up a little bit more. Again, I like to keep them a little bit loose. That way I can kind of play around with it as I'm fluffing and creating it. But then also once it's all done and it's hanging on the door, then I can really play around with it and move things around. So this is what my completed wreath form looks like. It's very, very fluffy. The larger the wreath ribbon or the mesh ribbon you use, the definitely more fluffy it's going to be. And again, I really like this, and I love the way this red anchor looks on top of that. But I do want to kind of add a little bit to that red anchor. So I am going to take my what is this called? This rope from Dollar Tree, the Nautical rope that is in the white kind of fabric-y, and I'm just going to loop it through the top of the anchor because, you know, you'd have a rope on your anchor. And then I'm just going to cut that down and trim it down and adhere it to the back of my wreath form. And when it's all done, we're not done yet though. Now I'm going to take another one of my Christmas wreath hangers that I picked up from Dollar Tree and have these little starfish accents. I was going to originally put them on the wreath, but I kind of like the simplicity of the blue and white with the large red anchor. I just think that's super classic. That red wreath hanger fits perfectly. The starfish, you know, I played around with them. They came bundled up together with this piece of raffia in the middle. And as much as I liked that idea, I decided to keep it a little more simple and just kind of go with one. So what I'm going to actually do is take it and I'm going to glue the starfish to the wreath form itself. And I think, at least I thought I was going to layer it like this, but I decided not to. I decided just to go with the one. Now, yes, I glued that thing way too high. And you'll see that I end up moving it down lower in a later part of the video. But again, it was still too high. So I had to adjust it once again. I did take that piece of raffia, though, and just kind of created a little tiny bow with it and then just glued that down to the center of the starfish. Here's where I move it down and think that it's low enough, but guess what? It's not. And I did end up having to move this once again when I got it outside. But again, super, super happy with the way this wreath form looks and the way this turned out. I love the simplicity of this. If you wanted to add more starfish or shells or rope or anything to this, you certainly could. For me, I thought that this was perfect, and I love the way it looks on my house. Hey everybody, it's Jamie. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these projects. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. Let me know what your favorite project was. Also, be sure to follow me on all of the social media platforms: TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and who knows, maybe there'll be a new one that I'll end up joining. All right, guys, take care. Bye. Yeah, I didn't have any bloopers this time. At least none I'm going to share with you. That's not a gun. That's like Botox. Hey, everyone.